Hello everyone, welcome to Rachel Pichler Yoga. Just in case we haven't met before, my name is Rachel. Today we're doing a full body flexibility practice. I am going to use 2 blocks today. If you have a pillow that you would rather lay on, that will work as well. Find some space to move for sure though, and let's get started. So we will start today laying down. And if you want to lay on something, you can, but you definitely don't have to. I'm going to lay on 2 blocks, one under my head, a little bit lower, and then one under my back and chest a little bit higher up for a bit more of a back bend. But if you'd rather lay flat on your back, you could do that as well. And if you've got some nice hard blocks to lay on, it's a nice little massage. But just make sure your head is supported, whether it's on the ground or on something as well. Let your hips, your glutes be on the ground. Your arms can come out wide. Maybe turning your palms to face up. And then just decide what you'd like to do with your legs. You might start with your feet planted on the ground and your knees bent. Give your spine, your upper body a chance to settle into the position that you've placed it in, especially if you're laying on top of something. And then if you did want to get into your hips a little bit while we're here, you might make a diamond shape with the legs. That might feel good if you are flat on your back. And then finally, just let your eyes close. Take a slower, deeper breath in and out. Do that again. Deep breath in. Feel your belly, your chest expand a little bit. And let it all go. One more time. Fill your body up with air and let it all go. I'll take just a few moments here. Scan your body. Try to soften any areas of you that are feeling some extra love today. And just allowing your day to slow down. Maybe finding some stillness throughout the body. Just feeling your breath. As we begin to move again, you might start with your fingers and your toes. You might take a deeper breath in and out. And if your legs aren't already bent with your feet planted on the ground, you could start to move your legs first. If you are laying on top of something, you can sit up to remove those items so that we can lay flat on our back. And then you might hug your knees in towards your chest once you're laying on your back. You might add a gentle sway side to side. And then you might even start to open your knees out wider. Let your big toes stay together, your reclined child's pose. A little press of the low back into the ground. Just kind of hold your knees to support the leg. And then you might let your big toes stay together, or you might lift your feet up. Happy baby. A gentle press of the back, the low back down to the ground again. Feel the entire length of your spine against the ground. And if you did open the feet out wide, you can start to let the big toes come back together. Find your knees and bring them together as well. And then maybe take a gentle sway side to side. And then we are going to be coming up to seated. So if you'd like to roll over or rock yourself forwards, you can find your way up. And maybe giving the knees a little bit of a hug or a squeeze. But we'll be sending our right leg out long. Left foot can be somewhere by the inner thigh. Taking an inhale to lengthen through the spine. You can point your right toes up. Feel free to stay seated nice and tall, or you can start to fold forward. Now, if you're happy with where you are, you could stay. And if you want to move your upper body a little bit, you could start to lift back up. We're going to keep our right leg out long in front of us. But once you're sitting tall again, you might start to turn your chest over towards your left knee a little bit. A bit of a twist, and maybe push the hands into the ground a little bit to lengthen the spine more. Continue to point your toes up if you can. Activate that leg just a touch. Now your right hand can stay on the ground, or it might rest on top of your leg. You might even walk the fingertips kind of to the outside of the leg, a little further away from you, just to feel some length, a little bit of stretch through the arm. Maybe that takes you into a bit more of a twist. You can shift the gaze behind you as well. Keep pointing your right toes up. And then again, just resting that right hand on your leg if it's comfortable. Maybe feeling a little bit of a pull through the arm, the shoulder. And then we can stay seated nice and tall here, or we can try to tip towards our right leg, kind of leading with the right shoulder, and let your hand kind of stay on your leg or on the ground, wherever it happens to be. As you keep tipping and tipping, you might feel a little bit more of a pull, a little bit more of a stretch through that arm. But if you have some space, you might walk your fingertips kind of down the leg towards the ground, just to keep that length. Now the left arm. Maybe we are going to reach it up. Maybe we're going to reach it over. Maybe you even take a peek wherever your fingertips happen to be pointing, or towards your big toe to add a side stretch. Keep pointing your right toes out. Now using an inhale, you can lift again. Just gonna release your arms. We're gonna take our chest. We're gonna face forwards again, and maybe we'll go over towards the right side a little bit. So let your legs stay pretty much where they are. Move your hands on the ground. Push into the fingertips a little to lengthen through the spine. Take a little bit of a twist over towards the right side. And then you can stay seated nice and tall. Or again, we can try to lead with our left shoulder. It's gonna get a little, or it won't be maybe as close to that right leg as the other side was, but we can try to walk the hands and kind of tip forwards. Maybe your left hand can cross over top of that right leg and you can lean a little bit more. Keeping the chest open towards that right side a little bit. And we'll just keep our hands on the ground for this one. And then just slowly, slowly start to find your way back up so that you're sitting nice and tall again. And we can bring our legs in, give the knees a bit of a hug or a squeeze, maybe a rock side to side. And then our left leg can go out long. Right foot to the inner thigh, point the toes up, lengthen through the spine, stay here, or take a simple tip forwards to start. Nothing fancy. Feel the calf, feel the hamstring. And maybe you will be staying here. Maybe you will be lifting back up and turning the chest towards the right side, towards your knee. That's out to the side. Push the ground away, lengthen the spine, keep pointing those left toes up if you can. And then your left hand might rest on top of your leg. Walk those fingertips kind of over the quad, over the knee maybe, to feel some length through that left arm. Maybe taking the gaze behind you for a bit more of a twist. You can stay here, or you could start to tip forwards, leading with the shoulder towards your leg. That right arm wants to reach up and maybe over, maybe gazing towards the fingertips or towards your big toe. And just using an inhale to lift back up if you are tipping over. Take your chest, start to face forwards again, maybe going a little further than that towards the left side. Point those toes up, use your fingertips on the ground to lengthen through the spine. Then you can stay seated tall. You could start to lead with that right shoulder tipping down. Maybe the right arm hand can cross over top of that left leg. Let's use an inhale to find our way back. Lift on up. Bring your knees back together. You can give them a hug or a squeeze, a rock side to side. And then we're going to come over into tabletop, so onto our hands and knees. We're going to find our way into a puppy dog stretch. Now, if you want to lengthen through the front of the chin, we're going to add that in. So either with the ground, if you've got a kind of a deeper puppy dog stretch, or if you have something, a pillow, a block's a little bit harder than that, but you could use a block to rest the chin on to try to lengthen through the front of the neck while we're here. If you'd rather rest on your forehead, you could rest on your forehead. But from tabletop, let's reach our arms out long and in front. Walk the fingertips away to try to take the bend out of the elbows. And as you slowly start to lower your chest and your chin, now my block is too far away, so you might have to bring yours closer too. Resting just the tip of the chin. And then if you are going for that length through the front of the neck, just check in. Is the neck comfortable? Are you getting a good stretch, or is it more work than you want it to be? Come to the forehead if it's too much. See for one last breath here. And then you can use an inhale to lift slowly. Bring your hands under your shoulders. If you were using a prop there, it can go to the side. And you can give your shoulders a little bit of a sway, the hips too. And then we'll just be crossing our ankles. Sitting down and then eventually laying down. So if you want to hug your knees in first, take a little rock side to side, or if you'd like to lay on your back, you could continue to hug the knees, maybe sway side to side. But leaving your legs where they are, the feet could stay lifted just a little bit longer, but your hands may come behind your head. Lifting the chin towards the collarbone just for a counter stretch for the neck. Lengthening through the back of the neck. And if your feet are still lifted, you can let them come down. And maybe even send them out long and your feet out wide. Just gently lifting the chin towards the collarbone. And if you do have your head lifted, slowly lower it. Rest your head on the ground. Bring your arms somewhere comfortable. Let your eyes close. Finding your Shavasana. And staying here for as long as you have time for today. Thank you so much for joining me. Enjoy the rest of your day. And until next time, namaste.